Marketing Officer, consultant, top tech. I'm going to say more than anything else, you are a tech guru, dude. You stay on top of things. You've been in some of the most significant initiatives when it comes to technology. And most importantly, I love how you are looking up and down the landscape of what's coming. So you and I have talked so much about this, but you're a real thought leader, and so glad that you're a part of our podcast. What do you have for a report on the tech update?
Thank you, David. Just on that topic for a quick second, you know what I found myself doing recently on some consulting projects? I found myself actually, I've got one board advisory position and another one that I'm negotiating. I found myself really, and you do this because you do executive coaching, really enjoying and excelling at helping others, whether it's just seeing things from another angle or leveraging the mistakes I've made in the past. It's really an interesting position to be in, and you get to just hear what other people are thinking and what they're doing, and sometimes you learn something all the time, actually. But anyways, it's your career makes so many turns and changes, and it's just interesting each time you have a second to look back to see what you're doing, where you came from, where you're going, etc. So with that being said, let's talk about all the folks that make commercials for the Super Bowl and if they're happy with what they're doing. So before the podcast today, I asked some of my fellow cohorts here what they liked, and Mark Helm actually asked me if you could rate the Super Bowl commercials on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being the worst. I went Barstool Sports, The Rules, One Bite, pizza style, and I think it was like a 4.3 or something I suggested. Went with the decimal because that's what Barstool does. But look, I know, David, I didn't see the Angel AI. You mentioned that they had that one this year, so I'm going to have to go Google or YouTube that one. But ultimately, what's really interesting, if I had to say, hey, what were the ones that were okay? And even the people around me and even the internet are saying were decent. I'll tell you, this one was pretty funny. This was State Farm, and it was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. And Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in and he goes, it's so funny. He goes, look like a good neighbor from State Farm, just written on the paper, State Farm. This woman is in labor. And they tried to get him to use the Arnold Schwarzenegger slang, and it came out so funny. So anyways, I thought that was a funny one. Also, State Farm at the Kansas City Chiefs are all over their commercials. I didn't see any KC State Farm commercials, so that was interesting. They obviously put a new one out there. This, David, I thought really probably should rank the #1 commercial. It was a Google Pixel camera commercial, and it showed a gentleman with a visual impairment, and as he used the phone, it was extremely blurry. And he held it up and said one person or one human face in focus, and it would say ocean and one human face in focus. It was suggestive as to the person taking the picture that it's good to click snap. I thought that was really cool, and just shows that people are thinking about how technology can help the human race besides just suck the energy out of our brains. So that was really interesting. Reese's Candy, I thought that was pretty cool. Interesting way to say that they have a new one. And they said, we only have a few, and it has a little caramel on top, and the people are screaming, the family's, yeah. And then at the end, they said, wait, are you still selling the original ones? And then Reese's goes, yes. And the people start screaming again. That was an easy way. And then the only other commercial, honestly, that I felt that had any merit was Neil Diamond and Volkswagen.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Herbie the Love Bug came out. I grew up watching Herbie in those movies. And Neil Diamond, our generation, I hope other generations still love Neil Diamond, but his music's great. Anyways, what was really bad, David? Homes.com was dumb. TurboTax was dumb. E-Trade and Pickleball was dumb. The J-Lo and Tom Brady, the Matt Damon, man, I didn't like it. I thought it was stupid. So that one. And the other one that should have been, it was a commercial. I can't rate it. I myself have been to Lahaina, Hawaii for the last 20 years, almost every other year. And I have a lot of memories there, and the fires there were just absolutely devastating. And there was a commercial for Lahaina, and they're going to rebuild. And it was about their football team and how they're finding pride and everything in that. And I thought that was just a great story. And that should have played probably 20 times in place of half the commercials that we saw. Bass Pro Shops was bad. Judge Judy and Suits. So the TV show on Netflix that came and it ended and then it came back. And now they're going into another season because Netflix has just increased the popularity. Elf, the makeup company, or ELF. I'm not big into makeup, so I don't know. Judge Judy and Suits was in it. They tried to make it cute. It was just And then there was an AI commercial for Copilot, which I don't know. It was all right. Honestly, besides the game, I thought Post Malone did an amazing job in America the Beautiful. Yeah, he wowed everybody. So the Super Bowl in terms of commercials, there weren't really any mortgage ones. Rocket Mortgage, we all knew ahead of time, wasn't going to be in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So let's leave it at that. This
But
week, David, go ahead.
yes,
Yeah, sorry.
I was saying, but Pavan was there with his Angel AI, and
Right.
again, one of our sponsors, one of our clients that I work with, and I got to tell you, it was really cleverly well done. Very clearly, a mortgage ad going consumer direct to the realtor, direct to the consumer, and it was really effective, I thought. But anyway, you continue on.
Yeah, no, that's great. So I did want to chat about AI for a second. And throughout the week, I take screenshots if I see interesting things online, or I will make notes. And there was one thing, let's see if I can find it really quick while we're here. It had to do with the new Apple Vision Pro, and I think it was Rocket Mortgage. And they now have the Vision Pro, a Rocket app. So check that out. I thought that was really interesting. So I had somebody ask me to help them with AI, David. And they said, "You seem to use it a lot. You're really good at it." And they said, like, when I try it, I use the prompts, it doesn't come out right. So if you're using AI and you're not getting what you want, you have to have kind of two mindsets. The first mindset is you have to tell it exactly what you want. And you have to know that what you're going to receive is it's enough to get started. You need to finish the work, right? But ultimately, this one person, I watched them enter in a prompt. I watched them go through it, and they were being nice. So let's just call him GPT, it GPT, right?
Yeah.
Its pronouns are IT. Oh, this wasn't that great. Can you please revise it? And they kept getting back something different. And then when they got the third response, the initial request was completely lost, and GPT went off out of bounds. And so I said, you have to tell GPT, why did you just forget the rules? Now, please redo that. If you're nice to GPT, like you want to be nice and empathetic to a person, you're speaking to a computer. You're speaking to a robot. You can offend them. You can tell them, you did not give me what I asked for. Can you please revise that? And please don't forget what I told you 4 paragraphs ago. And after I put a
That's a
little
good
bit of
point.
personality into their conversations with GPT, they started receiving what they were hoping. Now, again, it was enough for them to finish the work they needed to do. It's never going to replace what you're trying to do. But so my message to everyone today on how to use GPT, and if you're using prompts, is really just a couple really quick things. And this isn't a list anywhere online. This is my personal experience of how I've been successful and how I've interacted with other people. One is, don't be afraid to spend an extra minute to tell GPT who they are. Meaning,
Yeah.
when you get in there, say, listen, you are David Lykken. You are a podcaster. You've been in the industry for 40 years. You've worked with so many people. You continue to learn every day. You're the Tony Robbins of Tony Robbins. You're David Lykken. You need to tell me what I need to know. And don't be afraid to use too many words. Don't be afraid to make misspellings. Don't be afraid to have redundant sentences. None of that matters. Just get it out of your head. Tell GPT who you want it to be. Now that we have Mr. David Lykken as our GPT, now you can legitimately go in there and say, David, I've overpaid you. I've underpaid you. You give me more advice than I asked for. You've been amazing to everybody I know. I need you to pretend like your life is on the line, and I need you to tell me what you would say to get out of prison, right? You need to let GPT know the situation, what is the challenge, and what do you expect to be the result?
Yeah.
And
You're
then you
really,
say,
yeah.
oh, yeah. And then you say, these are the rules. I want no more than 3 sentences. I want to make sure you mention the word pancake in the 3 sentences. You tell it what you need it to do, and you will find that you will get better results. And don't be afraid to be mean to GPT. It's okay. Nobody's going to be upset.
So good. That's really good advice. I think we all need to learn to how to use this tool and these kind of tools AI more and more because it's a part of our lives. And who is going to accelerate is the one that learns how to use it the most. Mark, you become a bit of an expert in this on AI. And I tell you, it is so important we understand this. And folks, I'm telling everybody, all our readers, my clients, I'm requiring this required reading is the coming wave. It is the coming wave. It is unbelievably interesting. It's a little challenging to read, I'll be honest with you, because it can be scary when you realize the rate at which this is changing. Biomechanics, or the whole biological, the whole, I'm not saying that world, the biomedical world, that is changing. That one and AI. And I'm not saying the first one right, whatever it is, but it is fascinating how rapidly our world is going to be changing and it will be. Got to get involved. Alan, good report. Thank you, Alan.